In today's guided listening, we're going to explore Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony, the last one he composed 9 days before he passed away. It was the world premiere where he conducted it himself in St. Petersburg. We're going to look at the first movement here. And this is part of a guided listening for you to have a companion take you through the meaning of the sounds. What did the composer mean? What were his intentions, his emotions, his feelings? This is a loose interpretation meant to look more at the psychology and the symbolism behind the musical ideas so that you can then go and listen to some of the recordings of this work that I recommend below, the critically acclaimed recordings, and why each one of them is uniquely different and contrasting in character, in style, and yet all of them are so important. So let's talk a little bit about Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony before we listen to this amazing recording of the Leipzig Orchestra with Andris Nelson conducting that we're going to do our guided listening with. 1893, during the Russia of Tsars, St. Petersburg, Tchaikovsky was at the height of his career, 53 years old, world famous. All his symphonies and ballets were performed in all the major stages across Europe and North America. And he was at the height of his creative genius. And he composed the Sixth Symphony as a testament to his life, almost bidding farewell. Conductors and musicians universally agree that this is almost like a death note saying goodbye. In Russia, it was a crime to be homosexual, and Tchaikovsky was in the closet. He could not fulfill his life and live and be himself, and he suffered tremendously as a result. He was a very sensitive soul. He corresponded with his brother about it and with his patron. And we see in this symphony, especially in this first movement, the longing, the repressed longing to be oneself, the pain of having to mask who you truly are so that you can live in society with full of its prejudices. And we see here in this movement a lot of that pain. And it starts with a bassoon, very low, with the deep bass strings as well, accompanying, almost coming from the dark. And it's only four notes. Da, na, na, na. It's in B minor, so it starts very mysterious. And these four notes are going to basically frame the entire first movement. Now, I'm going to let you watch the performance, and I'm going to react in key places to offer these loose interpretations so that you can listen to certain things that may make more sense to you so you can truly feel the music. So that later on, you don't need me, this guided listening. You can just listen on your own and have a direct experience with the music of Tchaikovsky. So here we go. Let's share the screen with Andris Nelson and the Leipzig Orchestra. The link so you could listen to this recording is also here in the description below. Let's hear the first movement. Listen how the lower strings bring this painful, anguishing sound of unresolved tension. Now, an oboe high up is accompanying the violas and the cellos in a very throaty sound, descending, always descending. We feel the thickness of the air like a swamp of desperation. And now we'll hear those four notes again from the beginning. And we'll see an interplay between woodwinds and strings, developing this idea of the four notes, but it's almost like a sigh. Always with that tension in the air. And it wants to climb up. See, it always descends back to that swampy thickness. And now we hear this march theme. This march theme is gonna be all over the symphony in all four movements, almost like the march of destiny, the march of having to keep going despite all the pain. You see, there's a lot of call and response and dialogue. And then all of a sudden we hear the brass, a fanfare, out of the blue. And if you have the feeling of exhaustion, running out of breath, of pushing so hard, and then all of a sudden, listen to this brilliant transition to a different world, a different landscape that Tchaikovsky invites the listener to experience now. His inner world, the longing, the imagined, harmless, beautiful, innocent world. One where he could be fully himself and love. Now remember the march. We'll go back to the march of progress, of keeping going despite the pain. And you'll see the lower strings with the tension, the fear, the sensitivity of the soul, having to keep a facade as it marches ahead. You hear the tension of the strings again, the lower strings. And here there's a little bit of a tragic realization, resolution almost. We're getting to a point of arrival where Tchaikovsky is going to seize all of this and take us to a transition again, led by the clarinet. Back to that soothing, heartwarming theme. And now this theme starts to die down, resolve itself, letting the tensions ease a little bit, the conflicts die down. It's a brilliant way that the composer takes us to a musical transition, to another place, another chapter in this movement. And again, this bridge that's coming up, the transition, will be led once again by the clarinets. And they're going to be descending, almost like we're going to go deep down to a hellish place of turmoil, of anguish, of desperation, a nightmare. This is the composer in his desperation. And the theme you hear again, the four notes. But now there's a striving, conflict. Now great interaction between the different sections of the orchestra until we hear high up in the brass and a climax. And now we go all the way down to the depths of the valley, trying to climb again from this daze of pain. And you hear the breath, the shortness of breath in the strings. he's resolving the tension, and we're going to almost go to a clinically dead stage, flat line almost. See the heartbeat, ta-ta-ta. Pay attention to the pulse of the heartbeat. Now the dialogue between the different sections of the orchestra, striving. Almost gossiping. The rumors, the gossip, the hearsay, the pain, until the composer's chest can no longer contain and it wants to explode. And right here is the climax. The cup runs over. It's tragic. It's so painful. The beat of exhaustion and fateful. And now the transition gradually back to the beautiful, dreamy world of Tchaikovsky's inner soul. And alas, the theme starts to transition to a resigned acceptance and almost starts to look back, musically speaking. almost in memoriam. And here's the clarinet again, making the important transitions. This is the last time we're going to hear this theme in the entire symphony, bidding farewell. And now it's almost like he's concluding the chapter. And how do we get out of this imaginary world back to the real world? It's almost he walks us back with a pizzicato and this majestic, dignified, slow march. Still with hints of pain. We seem to have finally arrived at a point of acceptance, understanding, and relative calm. Looking back and getting ready to continuing our journey with a walk. So that ends the first movement. The next videos, we're going to examine the second, third, and fourth movement. And in the description of the video, you can watch this performance, as well as the 3 recommended recordings of this piece and why they're so important, critically acclaimed, and yet so uniquely different in their style and their characteristics, and what each conductor and orchestra brings out in different colors and nuances in the music. Let me know what you think of this guided listening experience. Tell me in the comments below suggestions and what your favorite part of this movement was, or if you have any other ideas about recordings or Tchaikovsky. The bio is also here. You can watch me playing violin on my TikTok, Music by Fred, and see the other episodes that we have here on the channel. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again in our next guided listening episode. Bye-bye.